Hi, I'm Heila, a PhD student at Boston University. I'm excited to preview research conducted with my co-authors, Doctors Allison McDonald, Brent Hecht, and Nicholas Vincent. Our work is titled A Canary in the AI Coal Mine. American Jews may be disproportionately harmed by intellectual property dispossession in large language model training. This is a sensitive paper. It talks about property dispossession from a population that's been significantly affected by property dispossession in the past, and according to our evidence, is now facing it again. And it could potentially significantly and negatively affect the socioeconomic situation of that community. Many Jews are raised with the phrase, "they can't take your education away from you," as a way to highlight the importance of education in avoiding the property dispossession that's affected the Jewish community in the past. Our work highlights that LLMs do exactly that, and in a way that disproportionately affects American Jews. We'll briefly talk about each individual component, LLMs, IP dispossession, and the disproportionate impact on American Jews. More detail about our method, results, and impact can be found in the paper itself. So first, large language models, LLMs. LLMs train on massive amounts of content that largely consists of text available online, which comes from all sorts of places, including the Common Crawl and other web page scrapes, legal and medical text archives, famously the full text of 100,000 plus copyrighted books. The list goes on and on. The responsible AI community has highlighted the importance of dataset documentation and transparency for years, but other forces have won out, and very few of these datasets are well documented, if they're documented at all. That makes it really hard to know if they use content written by a certain group more than any other. In our paper, we analyzed the pile, which is a compilation of datasets used by a lot of open source model developers, and that's been shown to overlap with the proprietary datasets that are used by proprietary models. Next, we're going to talk about intellectual property dispossession. One of the most prominent critiques of this particular paradigm of collecting training data is that these datasets are collected often, usually, without the consent of their authors. That's been called a property land grab so brazen it has unified a large range of interests and AI's original sin. A number of prominent book authors have sued OpenAI since ChatGPT was released to the public. And a number of labor organizations, most notably the Writers Guild of America, have started including language around AI data use in their contract negotiations. There are many, many more examples of this. Researchers across disciplines are already starting to propose solutions to some of these problems, and our paper fits into the overall landscape of thinking through alternative paradigms which respect the needs of content owners whose work has been used in ways that they don't consent to. Critically, it is not just the right to control what people can do with their content that's at risk. It's also their ability to pursue their chosen profession. And this is because one of the primary selling points of LLMs is their ability to create new content based on what's in their training data. So if your content is in their training data, they're likelier to be able to replicate or replace your work. Finally, American Jews may be disproportionately harmed. In this research, we zoom in on the particular case study of American Jews who we believe may be disproportionately harmed by the current LLM paradigm. Using inference methods developed in Jewish demographic literature, we find that content authored by American Jews is substantially overrepresented in important LLM training datasets. For example, the free law dataset that's part of the pile, and you can see this in the chart on the slide, we found that 6.65 to 9.14% of content was likely authored by Jewish authors, as compared to the 1.8 to 2.4% that we would expect based on population estimates. Overall, we found a weighted total of 2.46 to 4.51 times overrepresentation, meaning that these data sets, on average, rely on American Jewish authored content between about 2.5 to 4.5 times more than one might expect based on population estimates. So why do we call this effect a canary in the AI coal mine? Although groups who are disproportionately affected, like American Jews, will see harms first, the current LLM paradigm affects everyone. In other words, when something bad happens to Jews first, it's usually a sign of a deep corruption in a system that will soon affect everybody. In the final section of our paper, we discuss the implications of our results for Jewish Americans and other minority groups who author digital content, but also for policymakers, developers of AI systems, and HCI as a field. Ultimately, our findings suggest that those simply working to advance the current paradigm need to understand the new structural biases against minority groups that they may be contributing to. And they stress the importance of working together towards alternative LLM paradigms that avoid both disparate impacts and widespread social harms. Thank you.